Welcome back, everyone. It's been quite the journey, exploring sustainable living across all sorts of climates.
Yeah, from pole to pole.
But today,
They were in between.
we turn the focus to you, our listeners. We've seen how people are tackling the challenge of sustainability
In the hottest desert,
in all these wildly different environments.
coldest tundras,
But what are the key takeaways
and even
that we can all apply
those lush tropical rainforests.
to our own lives, no matter where we live? What does it all mean for the future of sustainable living?
And self-sufficiency, right?
Exactly.
That's the big question.
Are you ready to connect the dots? See what inspiration we can glean for ourselves?
Absolutely. I think one of the most fascinating takeaways is just how much ingenuity and adaptability humans have.
Right. It's like
We face a challenge and boom, we innovate.
each climate throws us a curveball,
You got it.
and we come up with incredible solutions.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
It really is. So let's start with the most extreme, shall we? Polar climates. Imagine building a life where the ground is frozen solid.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a challenge. Up there, insulation and energy efficiency are everything. I mean, it's the difference between
Right.
staying warm and, well, you know,
Yes, survival.
survival, exactly.
Okay.
Think about it, super insulated shelters.
Got to trap every bit of heat.
Right. And then you've got to find creative ways to harness those few precious hours of sunlight they get during the summer.
Forget about rainfall.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about capturing and storing snowmelt to get through the year.
Talk about precious resources.
And growing forward.
Yeah.
Traditional gardens are out the window.
Huh. Literally.
It's all about greenhouses and hydroponics.
Exactly.
Less of a trendy gardening method up there and more of a lifeline.
And even those solutions, you know, they require a whole other level of innovation up there.
Absolutely.
Think about it. Specialized heating systems for the greenhouses.
Right, and the lighting.
The lighting, yeah. And don't forget the constant maintenance in those harsh conditions.
It's got to be tough to live up there.
Yeah, no kidding.
It makes you realize how much we take for granted
Oh, I know it.
in milder climates. Speaking of which, let's move on to temperate climates. That's where most of us are tuning in from, I imagine.
Probably, yeah.
It might seem easier on the surface, but those seasonal changes
Oh,
demand some serious adaptability.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny. In temperate climates, the key is really about working with nature's rhythm
Working with it.
instead of fighting against it.
I like that.
You know, take crop rotation, for example. It's crucial in those zones for maintaining healthy soil.
Right. And maximizing yields throughout the year.
It's almost like an art form, you know?
It is. It's a dance.
Yeah.
A carefully choreographed dance with nature.
Planning which crops follow which to, like, naturally replenish the nutrients and keep those pesky pests at bay.
Like a cycle planting nitrogen-fixing legumes one season.
Yeah, like beans.
Then leafy greens that thrive on that nitrogen boost.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by root vegetables to break up the soil.
You got it.
It's amazing.
A carefully choreographed dance.
So temperate zones require some serious strategic thinking.
Oh, for sure.
Like a year-long chess game with Mother Nature.
You could say that. And the homes, too. They've got to be designed strategically.
Oh, absolutely. What about those? How do you build for a temperate climate?
Well, you got to harness that power of the sun, right?
Yeah.
That's key. We're talking passive solar design.
Right, passive solar.
Where your south-facing windows.
Capture all that winter sun.
Yeah, bring in that warmth.
And then in the summer,
Carefully placed overhangs.
overhangs are so important.
They block those intense summer rays. It's all about working with the environment to make a naturally comfortable living space.
Okay, so from strategic gardening to sun-powered homes, temperate living is all about that clever dance with the seasons. Now let's head to the opposite end of the spectrum. Arid and desert climates. Water is obviously the biggest challenge there.
You said.
But what are some of the ingenious solutions people have come up with?
Well, water efficiency becomes like a way of life in the desert, you know?
You can't waste a drop.
Every drop is precious. You see things like xeriscaping,
Is there escape?
you know, desert-friendly landscaping.
Yeah.
Think drought-tolerant plants.
Yeah.
And using clever ways to minimize water evaporation.
And I remember from our research, gray water recycling is a big one there.
Oh, absolutely.
Using that water from your sinks and showers to water your plants.
Exactly. And let's not forget those traditional desert dwellings with their thick adobe walls and shaded courtyards.
They were masters of passive cooling,
Weren't they?
keeping the interior cool even when it's blazing hot outside.
Makes you wonder why we ever strayed from those time-tested designs, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, from the dryness of the desert to the lushness of the tropics, abundant life and rainfall But those come with their own unique set of challenges.
Oh, yeah. Intense heat and humidity.
Right. Those are the big ones in tropical climates.
Yeah.
Building design there really has to focus on natural ventilation.
You got it. Homes that can breathe, so to speak.
Homes that breathe.
Stay cool and comfy.
I love that. And I imagine agriculture in the tropics has its own unique dance with nature, too.
Oh, absolutely. In such biodiverse ecosystems, you can't just come in and impose your will.
No, you got to work with it.
Sustainable agriculture there has to work with, not against, all that abundance.
Right.
It's about understanding that balance, those delicate ecosystems.
Finding ways to integrate food production.
Right, and not disrupting that.
But without disrupting in harmony. Yeah.
Fascinating. So from the extremes of the poles and deserts to the temperate zones and tropics, we've seen some incredible adaptations. But we can't forget about those in-between climates. What about those beautiful, sun-drenched Mediterranean regions? Hot, dry summers and mild, wet winters.
Yeah, that's the Mediterranean for you. And that means, water management is all about finding that balance.
Right.
You have to make the most of those winter rains.
To get you through the dry season? Exactly. Rainwater harvesting becomes crucial.
Absolutely. And sadly, those regions are increasingly prone to wildfires.
Yeah, it's a sad reality.
Building with fire-resistant materials is a necessity.
Yeah, not just a good idea anymore.
And yet, amidst these challenges,
right,
there's a certain beauty in how people have adapted.
It's true.
Traditional materials like stone and terracotta.
Yeah, not just aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
They're also incredibly effective for passive cooling. It shows that sustainability and beauty can go hand in hand.
They absolutely can. Okay, let's switch gears again to those continental climates known for their wild temperature swings.
Wild, yeah.
Scorching summers, A&D freezing winters.
Talk about extremes.
It's almost like living in two different climates.
You could say that. So your homes, they need to be tough.
Yeah, they gotta be.
Insulation that works in both directions.
In both directions.
And of course, don't forget those roofs built for snow load.
Something we don't have to think about in many other parts of the world.
Yeah. Definitely not in the tropics.
Now, what about agriculture in continental climates?
Farmers in those regions have to be just as adaptable.
Right.
Opting for cold hardy crops and using, creative ways to extend those short growing seasons.
They're like the survivors of to, I think, human resilience and ingenuity.
For sure.
To produce food in such challenging conditions.
It really is.
Amazing. And finally, we come to those high altitude and mountain climates. Living on the edge, literally.
Oh, yeah. Talk about breathtaking views.
Steep slopes, intense sun, and that ever-present wind.
Makes you feel alive, doesn't it?
It's really remarkable how people have adapted to such challenging terrain.
It is. I mean, buildings, they have to be wind resistant.
Yeah, and often built with terraces to adapt to the slopes.
And when it comes to water management?
Yeah, water management in the mountains.
It's all about capturing that snow melt and using gravity-fed systems.
No need for pumps when nature provides the perfect slope.
That's it. Work with what you got.
Talk about making the most of your environment. So we've seen how people have managed to not just survive,
right,
but thrive in such a diverse range of environments. It's really inspiring, isn't it?
It really is. It makes you think, doesn't it? What does all this tell us about the future of sustainability? And more importantly, self-sufficiency?
That's a great question, and one we'll delve into right after the break. Stay with us.
It's fascinating. No matter the climate, you see this common thread emerge.
What's that?
Community.
Oh, community.
It's amazing, these local communities stepping up, creating these resilient, more sustainable systems.
It's so true. Whether we're talking about community gardens in cities,
yeah,
or renewable energy co-ops out in rural towns,
although those,
even local food networks connecting farmers and consumers.
Yeah, those are great.
People are realizing that working together is key.
Collaboration, yeah.
To a brighter future.
Absolutely. And, it goes beyond just like sharing resources, right?
What do you mean?
It's deeper. It's about fostering this sense of shared responsibility. For the environment and for our communities,
It is. It's about realizing that we're all in this together.
We are.
It's like we're rediscovering the power of human connection in the face of all these global challenges.
Yeah. And speaking of challenges, we can't forget about technology's role in all of this.
Right. Technology.
It's a powerful tool, there's no doubt.
Powerful tool.
But it's not a silver bullet.
Right. No magic fix.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
What's exciting is seeing how it's being used, to create these innovative solutions that are tailored for specific climates.
And challenges.
And challenges, yeah. Like those high-tech greenhouses that can thrive in the Arctic.
I know, it's mind-boggling.
It is, isn't it?
Growing fresh food in those
It
conditions.
really speaks to that potential of human ingenuity, doesn't it?
It does. But at the same time,
Yeah.
we have to remember that technology should complement,
Compliment.
not
Yeah.
replace
Exactly.
traditional knowledge and practices.
Yeah. We've got to find that balance, you know?
We can learn so much from the ways people have lived sustainably for
Past
centuries.
generations.
And at the same time, embrace these new innovations that can help us move forward.
It's not one or the other, it's both.
And ultimately,
Yeah.
it comes down to us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Sustainability, it's not just about the technology we develop or the systems we put in place.
It's about the
It's about the choices.
choices we make
Choices we make, the actions we take
every day.
every single day.
Yeah.
It's about our willingness to learn from nature, understand our impact.
And our commitment to creating a better future.
That's it.
That's such an important point.
Duh.
It can feel overwhelming sometimes, all of this.
It can.
But realizing that we all have a role to play,
We do.
that's empowering.
It is, isn't it?
Every little step, every conscious choice we make,
Right.
it can ripple outwards,
It's
create positive change.
And that leads us perfectly to our final section today. For all those listeners out there feeling inspired to take action, we've got some incredible resources
Awesome.
to help you delve deeper into sustainable living no matter what climate you're in.
Let's bring it down by climate, shall we? We'll share some books, websites, organizations that we found particularly insightful, inspiring.
Yeah.
So for our polar pioneers out there,
Braving those icy landscapes.
where do we even start?
Well, there's this one, The Handbook of Cold Climate Engineering.
The Handbook of Cold Climate Engineering.
She's a bit technical,
A little dense.
But if you're serious about building and designing for those extreme conditions, this book is like your Bible.
It's the Bible.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are just curious about, the incredible ingenuity of Arctic communities,
Wow, those are amazing.
I highly recommend checking out the documentary, Scylla and the Gatekeepers of the Arctic.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way.
Beautiful exploration of how indigenous knowledge is shaping sustainable practices up north.
Really a
Now, for those of you in temperate climates, where most of us are probably tuning in from, the Permaculture Handbook by Peter Bain.
a classic.
That's a classic
It's got practical advice on everything.
for everything.
From gardening, food preservation, to energy-efficient design, all tailored for those moderate climates.
Yeah. All right. If you want to go deeper on the social aspects of sustainability in temperate zones,
Social aspects?
there's this book, The Transition Handbook, From Oil Dependency to Local Resilience by Rob Hopkins.
The Transition Handbook.
It's a fascinating exploration of how communities are coming together to create more self-sufficient and resilient ways of life.
Communities coming together.
Okay, moving on to those sun-drenched, arid, and desert climates.
Oh, yeah, the desert.
Water is obviously a primary concern.
Absolutely. A primary concern.
There's this book, Water Harvesting for Drylands and Beyond by Brad Lancaster.
Water harvesting for drylands.
It's a game changer.
It is. Covers everything about water harvesting.
All things water harvesting.
From simple techniques to those more advanced systems.
And for those who are intrigued by the beauty, the ingenuity of traditional desert architecture,
Oh, it's amazing.
passive cooling, traditional and contemporary architectural and urban design strategies.
Passive cooling, all right.
That one's a must read.
It is.
It explores how ancient building techniques can be applied today to create those energy efficient and climate responsive structures.
Really cool stuff.
Now, for those lucky enough to live in the lush and vibrant tropics, there's this foundational text, Tropical Architecture, Sustainable Design for Hot, Humid Climates.
By Maxwell Fry and Jane Drew, right?
That's the one.
It's up cool.
A classic exploration of how to design buildings that work with, not against, the unique challenges of tropical regions.
You got it.
And for a more practical guide to sustainable living in the tropics,
More practical.
there's The Tropical Garden, Design and Cultivation by Noel Kingsbury. Chock full of information on growing food, managing water, creating a thriving garden in that environment.
Sounds like a good one.
Moving along to the Mediterranean climates, those beautiful regions with their hot, dry summers and mild, wet winters.
Or the Mediterranean.
Water-Wise Gardening in the Mediterranean Climate by Heidi Gildemeister.
Okay. Water-wise gardening.
That's a must-read for those climates.
For sure.
It covers everything from choosing the right plants to creating those stunning low-water landscapes that just thrive in those conditions.
Yeah. And we can't forget about the wildfires.
Right. Given that increasing threat of wildfires in those regions, Firewise Landscaping, Protecting Your Home from Wildfire by Douglas Kent.
Firewise Landscaping. Okay.
That's an incredibly important resource.
It is.
It provides practical advice on how to create defensible spaces around your home and using fire-resistant landscaping techniques.
Be prepared, right?
Now, for those of you in continental climates, where you're experiencing both those scorching summers and freezing winters,
Oh, yeah. Talk about extremes.
building for those extremes is essential.
For sure. There's this great book, The Complete Guide to Building Affordable Super Insulated Homes, for climates from 30 below to 110 above by John Straub.
Wow, the complete guide to building affordable, super-insulated homes.
Yeah, it covers it all.
Comprehensive guide to building homes that can withstand those wild temperature swings.
You need a house that can handle it all.
And for anyone interested in the challenges, the rewards of gardening in continental climates, 4-season harvest. Organic vegetables from your home garden all year long by Elliot Coleman.
4-season harvest.
That's a classic.
It is.
Packed with techniques for extending the growing season, producing fresh food year-round, even in those colder regions.
Amazing.
Finally, we come to those awe-inspiring high-altitude and mountain climates.
Living on the edge.
For those of you building in such challenging terrain, Building in the Mountains. A Guide for the Owner Builder by Doug Merrilees.
Okay. Building in the mountains.
That's a great starting point.
Yeah, it covers everything.
It covers everything from site selection, foundation design, to dealing with snow loads and high winds.
Gotta be prepared for those.
And for a fascinating look at traditional mountain agriculture.
Traditional mountain agriculture. Okay.
The Potato, How the Humble Spud Rescued the Western World by Larry Zuckerman.
The potato, huh?
It's surprisingly captivating.
Forget it is.
It explores the history of the potato as a staple crop in high-altitude regions and highlights the incredible ingenuity of those mountain communities in adapting to their environment.
People and their potatoes.
These are just a few examples, of course.
Oh, yes, just a starting point.
A springboard for your own explorations into the fascinating world of sustainable living.
A whole world out there.
And what's so exciting is that this world is constantly evolving, new discoveries,
Right.
new technologies, new communities.
Popping up all the time.
It's a global movement gaining momentum every single day.
It really is. And it leads us to a final thought, something we want you to ponder as you continue on your journey.
Okay, a final thought.
We've seen these incredible examples of resilience, adaptation across the globe.
People are amazing.
But what if we dared to go beyond just surviving? What if we aim to thrive, not just as individuals,
Arrive.
but as a global community?
That's a powerful idea.
Isn't it? Not just sustainability, but regeneration?
Regeneration,
Not just meeting our basic needs,
but restoring.
restoring, enriching those ecosystems we depend on.
Imagine a future where our cities are regenerative.
Yeah.
Our homes generate more energy than they consume.
Our food systems rebuild soil and biodiversity.
And communities are connected by a shared commitment to a thriving planet.
Now that's a vision.
It sounds almost utopian,
It does.
but isn't that the kind of future worth striving for?
I think so. And you know, the most inspiring part, the seeds of that future, they're being planted right now.
They are.
All around the world. It's not about waiting for some technological miracle or some government policy to save us, you know?
Mhm.
It's about what we do, the choices we make
Every day.
every single day.
Like that's think globally, act locally.
That's it. We can be inspired by those amazing projects across the world.
But the real change starts
Breathe.
at home.
In our communities.
So whether you're planting a garden, reducing your waste, supporting local businesses, advocating for change,
Yeah.
know that you're part of something much bigger,
You
a global movement towards a brighter, more sustainable future.
It's been an incredible journey exploring these diverse climates,
Yes.
the ingenious ways people live sustainably within them,
We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity
giving you some knowledge, some tools
and, most importantly, ignited that desire to take action.
to make a difference.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration.
It's been a pleasure.
Remember, the future of sustainable living is in our hands.
We can do this.
And together, we can create a world where both people and the planet thrive.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and stay curious.
And that leads us to a final thought for you all. Something to ponder as you continue on your own journey, right? We've seen these incredible examples of resilience and adaptation across the globe.
Humans are amazing.
But what if
Yeah.
we dared to go beyond just surviving? What if we actually aimed to thrive.
Thrive, yeah.
Not just as individuals, but as a global community.
Not just sustainability,
Right.
but regeneration.
Exactly. Not just meeting our needs, but actually
Yeah.
restoring, enriching the ecosystems that we depend on.
Imagine a future where our cities are regenerative, our homes generate more energy than they consume,
Wouldn't that be something?
food systems that rebuild soil, biodiversity,
Yeah.
and communities connected by a shared commitment to a thriving planet.
That's a vision, isn't it?
It sounds almost utopian.
It does, but you know what? The most inspiring part is that the seeds of that future, they're being planted right now.
Thank you.
All around the world. We don't have to wait for some big technological miracle
Right.
or some government policy to come and save us.
No, we can do it ourselves.
It's about us, the choices we make every single day.
Think globally, act locally.
That's it. We can be inspired by those amazing projects happening all over the world, but the real change starts right here,
At home,
in our own community.
in our own backyards.
Yeah.
So whether you're planting a garden, reducing your waste, supporting those local businesses,
Advocating for change in your community.
know that you are part of something much bigger,
Absolutely.
a global movement towards a brighter
More sustainable.
and more sustainable future.
It's been incredible exploring these diverse climates with you.
It really has.
Seeing all these amazing ways that people are living sustainably.
We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, giving you some practical knowledge.
And most importantly, that desire to take action, to make a difference.
Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration. Remember, the future of sustainable living is in our hands,
We got this.
and together, we can create a world where both people and the planet thrive.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring.
And stay curious.
Stay curious.